Hello everybody, this is Joshua Krieger at Creek Sports Talk, and here today we are going to predict the NFC North. I think this is a very interesting division considering we got two high-level teams, Packers and the Bears. We got a good team in the Vikings, and we got a not very good team to okay team in the Lions. I'm going to predict this division. You're going to figure out who I think is going to make the playoffs. Put down in the comment section below what division you want me to predict next. I plan to do as many divisions as I can before school starts and before the season starts. Let's get right into this video. So here is the records I have for each team. I have the Packers 11-5. I have the Bears 9-7, Vikings 7-9, and Lions 6-10. Now, I don't get why everybody is hating on the Packers. The Packers have a good defense. They signed Preston Smith, and they also signed Darius Smith. They're two very good linebackers and they're young too. They're not older veterans. They're young players that are going to continue to grow and are going to continue to contribute at a high level. We also got Adrian Amos to replace Clint Dix at the safety spot, and then we got a good offensive lineman in Billy Turner. This offseason, I think, has really changed the Packers. We upgraded that offensive line with Billy Turner, and we also have David Bakhtiari. And then we got Aaron Rodgers too. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The only losses I really have for them is I have Kansas City, Los Angeles, Carolina, San Francisco. That is in the middle of their schedule. That's the brutal section. But towards the end of the schedule, it's pretty easy. They have the New York Giants. They have Washington Redskins. Chicago's really the only tough game, I believe. Minnesota, I think they'll be able to beat. And then they have Detroit to end the season. That's not very tough end of your schedule, and their bye is at week 11, which is nice. It's not in. I kind of like the bye in the beginning, but it's towards the end. Everybody will be able to freshen up a little bit for the playoffs, hopefully. So I have the Packers winning the division at 11-5. So let's move on to the Bears. I think the Bears will not make the playoffs. No, it's not just because I'm a Packer fan and I don't want the Bears to make the playoffs. I really don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think Matt Nagy did a lot of directional stuff, and he did a lot of moving part stuff, and he really improved Mitch Trubisky. But still, I think 1 year of film is going to really help figure out that offense and what they did. And I think they're not going to score as many points. And I really don't think their offense is anything special to talk about, even with Matt Nagy's directional, putting offensive linemen out on the side. I really don't think it's anything special. But their defense is something that I think will carry them. They carried them last year. But I don't even think that defense is going to be as good. We've seen great defenses not do as good in the next year. Jacksonville, Minnesota, they were both two great defensive last year that did not play as good the following year. I think this team is just going to not be as good. Their offense isn't going to be as great. Their defense isn't going to be as great. Therefore, they aren't going to win as many games. Also, the middle of their season is brutal. You have to play New Orleans, you have to play the Chargers, the Rams, and you have to play the Eagles. That is a very difficult section of your schedule that I think you're potentially going. You're going to lose four of those games. You're going to lose to all the great opponents. I really don't think they're going to be good enough to beat those high-level teams. So that's why I have them at 9-7, not making it to the playoffs. Now, the next team I have to talk about is the Vikings. I think they're going to be 7-9. They simply are not a great team. They are a good team. They aren't anything great. They do have two very good wide receivers, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, and their quarterback is okay. Their defense is great. But I said this a year ago when they signed Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins doesn't deserve $30 million a year. He hasn't shown anything in the playoffs, and he hasn't won any big games. Why are you giving this quarterback all this money? And last season proved me right. He couldn't beat any big teams, and he didn't lead them to the playoffs. I thought they would make it to the playoffs, but they make it to the playoffs even with Kirk Cousins not being as good. But last year really proved he's not good in big games. He's not going to win you those big games. He's not going to take you to the playoffs. So that's why he was a $30 million a year mistake for the Vikings. That's why I have them at 7-9. They aren't going to be a good team. And plus, their end of their schedule is brutal. They have to play the Seattle Seahawks, Detroit. I think that'll be an interesting game because I just don't think they're as good. They have to play the Chargers, Green Bay, and Chicago. That's not going to be a great end to your schedule. I think you have a potentially losing all 5 of those games. I think they're going to be as good. I have them at 7-9, not making the playoffs. Now, the last team I have to talk about is the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions aren't good. They are simply not good. They have an okay quarterback, who is in that Kirk Cousins realm. He hasn't proved anything. Rob Parker called him Stat Padford because this dude has amazing stats that he has nothing to show for this stats. He has not won a playoff game, and the Lions are simply not a good team. They're not going to win any big games, and they're going to be able to beat rebuilding teams. That's about it. The only teams I have them beating Minnesota one of those times because I'm not very high in Minnesota. I have them beating Oakland, which Oakland's rebuilding. I have them beating the Giants, which the Giants are rebuilding too. They're probably going to end up facing a rookie quarterback, so they better win. Tampa Bay, because that situation is a mess down there. And I also have them winning against Denver. They simply are not going to be able to beat good teams. They aren't a great team, therefore they're not going to be very good. They're 6-9, nowhere near the playoffs. And that is it for today's video, guys. Please subscribe, like this video, turn those post notifications on so that way you get my video right away. You can watch it right away and comment down below right away. So again, I'll repeat the records I have for each team. Green Bay making the playoffs, winning the division at 11-5. Bears 9-7. I don't think they're going to squeak into the playoffs. They're going to be a good team, but I think the NFC is too loaded for them to make the playoffs. I have the Vikings at 7-9. They're not a good team. Kirk Cousins is a mistake. He's not going to win their big games. And then the Lions are 6-9. They're not very good. They won't be able to beat any big opponents. The only teams they'll be able to beat are rebuilding teams like the Raiders, the Giants, and Tampa Bay, which is a mess right now. So that is it for this video, guys. And thanks for watching. See you in that next video.